And the weird thing that's happened is liberalism, progressivism started speaking for the working man, right? Like 100 years ago, it spoke for the working man, and now what's happened is there's been a complete reorientation where the working man has separated out, and then you saw that in this most recent election, where the union leadership still, for the most part, endorsed Kamala, but the rank and file voted majority for Trump in a lot of cases. And the data point that I remember is the Teamsters voted 70% for Trump.
What do you think the motivation of all these wealthy people to vote for Kamala Harris was?
Because they feel great. Because they're saving the world.
That's what it is?
It's amazing to be in charge and control society and decide how everything works and decide who's good and who's bad. And like, you're elite. You get to be the elite. You get to make the elite decisions.
If you want to be in that group, you have to.
You got to do this, and you feel good about yourself because you feel like what you're doing is on behalf of your. You feel like what you're doing is on behalf of your clientele and your
It's
class.
reinforced by the echo chamber you live in.
Yeah, and it's why if you read the media, New York Times, it's either how, New York Times only has two articles anymore. It's either how evil are Republicans or how innocent and helpless are poor aggrieved minorities or identity groups. Right, and so the oppositional force, but we're the party of good with a capital G because we're taking care of all these poor, marginalized people. And so it's a very compelling. You feel great about yourself, right? It's just absolutely amazing. And then, by the way, it just so happens that the economy is wired up in a way where you're getting paid a ton of money for not working very hard, and it's all great. And then you're completely isolated away from the lived experience of just normal people, which is the state that I found myself in, where it would never even occur to you to talk to a garbage man or to somebody running a restaurant or whatever, because it's just like you're not affected by the rising crime rates because you live in a safe neighborhood,
right?
And you've got you're against the wall on the border, but you got a wall around your house, right? And so you're in this bubble, and then you only ever talk to people who agree with you. Right. And then the media is constantly reinforcing it. And then you get ostracized if you disagree. And that's the wedge.
That's the wedge.
And it worked. Like, look, for a long time, for 40, 50, 60 years, it worked as a way to gain and hold political power. It's just gotten wedged in kind of this corner where it can no longer win. And so therefore it has to get reexamined.
So for you, when you had this shift of thinking, you talked to the waiter and then the Hillary Clinton speech, and then how long is it before you start publicly expressing these things? And how much of a reluctance is there?
Well, so from 2017 to 2020, I was just trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And then COVID hit. And then I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on with COVID. And, our business, went crazy. Our business caved in and had all kinds of crazy, horrible things happening. And we have all these companies. We have hundreds of companies we're responsible for, startups. And so we're working with them to try to keep them afloat, trying to get the money and everything.